Come take a trip in my airship. Come take a sail on the sun. Come have a ride around Venus. Come have a spin around Mars. Show us to us while we're busy. Show us to see while we school. Come take a trip in my airship and we'll visit the man in the moon. Will the audience
Greetings, loyal airmen, and welcome to the Airship 27 podcast number 89. I'm one of your co-hosts this holiday season, Captain Ron Fortier, and joining me as ever is our always hardworking chief engineer, Rob Davis. Hey, Rob, how's it going, buddy?
Hello and welcome once again on this great morning, couple of days after Christmas.
Yeah, and so I got to ask, how was your holiday, my friend?
Oh, well.
Oh, loaded question, huh?
Our kids, of course, are both married. My son now has a daughter who is going to turn 1 year old next month in January.
Oh.
And of course, we have to share them with the in-laws. So this year, we're the ones who don't get anybody for Christmas.
Oh.
So all the gifts are still under the tree. Unopened. This is the Wednesday after Christmas, which was on Sunday. So we're 3 days after Christmas, and no one has opened any presents in our house. The stockings are still hung. So yeah.
I get all that. I mean, we have 5 kids ourselves, and they have other relatives and the other sides and whatever. So yeah, but the thing to always keep in mind, and I get a kick out of this. I was at church yesterday, stopped in church and saw one of the retired pastors, and he saw me and says, "Merry Christmas." And I looked at him and he goes, "Remember," he says, 12 days of Christmas. He says, "We keep saying Merry Christmas." So you're still way in the safe zone, my friend.
Well, yeah, but by the time we do get together, I think we're outside those 12 days because it's not this coming weekend, but the following weekend. This coming weekend, of course, is New Year's.
Yep.
And we have some friends of ours who the male person is a friend of ours. Used to live in Columbia, which is nearby where we live. We're about 6 miles north of Columbia, and he and his then wife moved away. They were our closest friends here in Columbia. They moved about an hour away, and then a few years after that, they moved 2 hours away in the Kansas City area. Unfortunately, she passed away some years later, and he has remarried. He has since found a vivacious, very fun new wife, and they still invite us, as the original couple did, to New Year's celebrations. They come to our house to shoot off fireworks on the 4th. We live in the county, so we can shoot fireworks off to our heart's content.
Good for you.
So they come and visit us, and I barbecue, and we have a good time. And then on New Year's, we go visit them, and we have a meal, and we play games, and we catch up.
Of course. Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do this coming weekend. But the weekend after that, Rachel and her new husband Connor, whose family is in New Hampshire, they're out there visiting. So we're fingers crossed they're going to be able to get on their flight from Southwest.
Oh.
The airline having all the problems. That's who they're scheduled with. They're going to fly back. I think Thursday or Friday. I forget which day it is. I think they have a backup flight. I think the backup flight is on Friday and their regular flight is tomorrow, Thursday. Yeah. So fingers crossed they're going to make it back.
That's been the big news around here. I mean, as you already know, we're all well aware, Mother Nature really, really played havoc with us this year, okay?
Well,
and that cold spell from us to you to New England, all right? I mean, Buffalo. I mean, the newscast in Buffalo.
What is it, 5 feet?
Yeah.
I think
over 30 people dead because of weather-related. I'm trapped indoors, can't get out, whatever, okay? I mean, just horrible. And to add to this misery and grief, as you said, okay, I think for the last couple nights on the evening news, they've been having a reporter down at DIA, all right, showing the mess that Southwest is. And like your daughter and son-in-law, that's the airline that Valerie and I usually use. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
They have canceled on an average, I think, of 200 to 300 flights every day for the last 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Rob, when they show pictures of the airport, I mean, these planes aren't getting up. They took all the luggage out because the people wanted their luggage. I'm not flying next 2 days. I might as well go get a hotel or whatever, right? What are you doing with my luggage? Luggage is scattered across. You can't walk on the floors. There's so much luggage over the entire mezzanine at the airport. I have never seen anything so ridiculous in all my life. My heart goes out to all those people.
It's definitely a snafu. If you being in the military, you know exactly what that means.
Yeah, it's very appropriate in this case.
Yeah, I think the problem is, from what I was seeing on the news last night, is that the airline hasn't updated its scheduling software since the 1990s.
Yep.
Are you using a computer from the 1990s? I'm not.
No way, no say. That's long gone.
Nothing that I use on a regular basis of a electronic nature from the 1990s, except I have a CD player, I think, from the 1990s. That's about it.
Well, I mean,
that's part of the problem.
This isn't the end of it, because again, what I've seen is the head of the Department of Transportation will be looking into why this happened.
Pete Buttigieg, he's definitely he's top of it. He's a pretty smart guy, and I think he'll launch an investigation, and we'll find out.
We're looking at Valerie and I are looking at flying out to Florida in March to visit her sister and her husband in Florida, like we always do. But let me tell you, the last couple of days of watching this stuff, I don't know how secure I feel about any of this.
Yeah, and especially after your experience trying to fly back from Philadelphia, or Pittsburgh, excuse me.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Philadelphia is on my mind because I was reading something about it yesterday. But wow, it's just, and of course, I ran into something that was directly correlated with this as well. I've talked about this before on the podcast and elsewhere, that I drive a bus part-time for a local college. Well, the bowling team, the women's bowling team, flew to Las Vegas for about 5 days I think there were 2 tournaments that they were in Las Vegas. They flew to Las Vegas, and they were scheduled to come back last Thursday. They were supposed to come back last Thursday. Now, I don't know what airline. I think it was Southwest they flew on. It was. But here's the thing. The flight was fine, but a storm ran right through Missouri just at the same day they were supposed to arrive. Now, I was supposed to go pick them up at 10 o'clock in the morning. Well, that's right in the middle of when the storm hit. So we canceled my going to get them. But they made it in. The flight made it in. So they had to stay an extra night. Yeah. They had to stay an extra night at the hotel, or at a hotel not too far from the airport. And I drove in the next day to get them. Now, looking at the weather as it happened, I probably could have driven in to get them, but the trick would be coming back. Because the storm hadn't completely hit by the time I was going to be picking them up. But I'd be driving right back through the middle of the worst of the storm, and there were some places where it was complete whiteout.
Yeah.
The wind was blowing the snow so hard that you couldn't see the road. So, but anyway, and it's sub-zero temperatures as well. So the wind chill was even lower. Well, that next morning on Friday, I broke out the long underwear and got in the frozen bus that didn't thaw until I was a quarter of the way to St. Louis to pick them up, and brought them back that same day. Now, another interesting thing happened was that he took 11 people with him, but when I went to pick them up, there were only 3, because parents from around the area of St. Louis came in and picked up some of the girls, some of the ladies. Right. So I only had 4 people to pick up, 3 of the bowlers and the coach. Yeah. But they were both really happy to see me.
I'm sure.
And we came right back. But boy, even then the wind was just blowing the bus around. So it was, so it's been a crazy crazy
Hey, look,
Christmas season
Mother
for
Nature,
everybody.
winter solstice is come and gone. So let's
Yeah,
start going the other way now. Okay.
yeah. The
Please.
days are already starting to get longer. It's
Yeah.
weird how you notice these things. But when
Yep.
I get up in the morning, I go, wait, it's bright, it's light out.
Yeah. Again. Hey.
You know, the
All
sun's
right.
out. Wow.
All right. Hey, Loyal Airman, Rob and I decided we were going to do this particular episode, the last one of the year, to announce the last release of the year. We've only got one book, so it's not going to
Right.
be a particularly long episode.
Which is
We're
why we're
kind of
visiting about the weather as well.
right,
You
and
know, we
filling
try to
in
kill
some
all the
some
time
bits
here.
and pieces because you haven't seen us in a month. Okay,
Yeah,
and we're glad to
exactly.
see you as well.
See
The
what
kicker
craziness
is
is going on with us.
we kind of hope that sometimes in the middle of January 2023, we're
Yeah.
going to do our wrap up podcast where we'll look back on the year 2022 and the books that we got out. And we had some really, really interesting and phenomenal books this past year. But for now, we're going to get going with this, abbreviated show. And that means Ron gets to do the bad joke of the episode. And you'll get a kick out of this. This one, Rob, literally I got yesterday from our good buddy Gordon Demowski.
Oh yes, yeah.
All
I
right,
saw the
Gordon.
email on that. I know this one, but it's still it's funny.
Yeah, and the kick is I kept thinking about it and saying it till I realized, and as you know the joke, the point is it was better that I write it down because Loyal Airman, this one really please pay attention to the
Yeah.
wording.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Mr. Jones owned a small grocery store. Times were tough, and he could only afford to keep one clerk. As summer was coming, many high school students began coming to his store looking for a summer job. After turning away lots of these young men, he finally put up a sign in his front window that read, "No help wanted." Naturally, many of his customers saw the sign and thought it amusing, while those high school kids got the message upon seeing it and didn't bother him. Then, a few days after having put it up, one young man, upon seeing it, walked into the store, approached him with a smile on his face. "Hi, I'm here about the job," he announced. Jones was flabbergasted. "Don't you know how to read?" He went to the sign from the window and held it up to the brash young man. "Can you read this?" he asked. "Sure, it says, 'No help wanted,'" the boy replied. "So," asked Jones, "what are you doing here?" Answering the ad, the boy replied, "You see, my father is always calling me a no good for nothing lazy bum. So when I saw your sign, I knew it was perfect for me. You see, if you hire me, I can absolutely guarantee I will be of no help to you whatsoever." Oh, yep. There you go, Gordon. I hope I pulled it off for you.
Thanks, Gordon.
Yeah, really appreciate that a great deal. Be of no help to you whatsoever. All right. Oh,
All right.
okie doke. And so we're off and running for this little podcast, and I'll let you take the next agenda, which is on a little bit of a sad note, but then again not. And you'll see as Rob goes through it.
Yeah. So this is we got an email from one of our writers, Andrew Salmon. And so this is Get Well, Andrew Salmon. Just prior to the holidays, we learned that one of our new pulp creators, Andrew Salmon, best known for his Sherlock Holmes tales, was in the hospital after having his left foot amputated during a lengthy illness. It was Andrew himself who informed us. He went on to say he would soon be getting therapy once fitted with the prosthetic foot. As is typical, his letter wasn't at all sad, but rather filled with eager determination to get his new leg, go through his treatment, and get back to his life as a pulp writer. This is a very, it's not a, we know Andrew is a very positive guy. So we weren't surprised that he did this, but it's very encouraging to find that someone who's up against something like this, having a piece of your body cut off, a part that you use to get around with, and he's I wouldn't use the words excited, but he's enthusiastic about, let's get on with this. Let's take that damn thing off, and let's get the new one on there, and so I can move on with my life.
Right.
So
I got
a
the
great
sense,
attitude to run
right.
into, and
A couple things
thanks
to
for
point
sharing
out.
with that with Andrew.
Right. He didn't tell anybody. None of us. He blindsided us.
We didn't know this was coming.
No.
It
So
just came out of the blue.
getting his initial email, I was like, you got to be kidding me. All right. But again, that's what he's all about. Okay. And you got the sense that Andrew didn't want people to feel sorry for him or all this kind of stuff.
No,
and Andrew, please, we just wanted to share this with all your colleagues out there to let them know. All right. Which I think they should. All right.
And the interesting thing was that this came as part of it. It wasn't even the root of the message. He's talking to us about doing a story, a Sherlock Holmes story for our 20th edition of the Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, and he was just kind of telling us where he was along with it, and that he wanted to be part of the book. And as an aside, he mentions, maybe a little bit before I get to it, because I'm having my foot amputated, and then I've got to get the prosthetic, and as soon as I get all that done, well, I'll get started. I'm going, okay.
Anyways, Andrew, if you get all inundated by cards and letters from all your friends,
it's our fault.
That's why. Okay. And hey, you're in our thoughts and our prayers always, but we've no doubts whatsoever you are going to recover, and you're going to be who you always have been, an inspiration to the rest of us. God
that ain't going to slow him down.
Not a bit. Not a bit.
Okay.
All right. and now here we go. Our one new release since our last show, episode 88, and one that is important to Rob and I and a lot of people online and the Pulp Factory, The Adventures of Radio Rita. And ironically enough, Rob, this is our 22nd release of year 2022. So go buy a lotto ticket, folks. There's an omen there someplace.
Make sure there's a 2-2 in it somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Ask for that. All right. Our first volume of this series is now available. This was the project inspired by the 40s pinup we had used over on Facebook when announcing these very podcasts. This leggy redhead was seated in front of a shortwave radio set, and we tagged her Radio Rita. New pulp writers working from my very abbreviated fact sheet, each wrote a story with their version. This first collection features Rita has seen through the eyes of Teal James Glenn, Gene Moyers, Samantha Lienhardt, and Mel Odom. Rob did more than the average amount of illustrations for this book, plus some unique designing, setting each story apart from the other. Ted Hammond provided a truly dynamite cover. The excitement that this volume has already generated online is super positive, and we really hope you'll check it out. It's been a lot of fun seeing this materialize. And those of you who follow our show faithfully will know this project was actually born on a podcast where Rob and I kicked out this idea of, writers wanting to know, you ever going to do stories with Radio Rita? And we said, what the heck? Came up with the idea of each person doing their own Radio Rita. And Rob, I think it's a huge success. I mean, both of us read these stories. No two are alike.
No. Her last name is even different from story to story. So
right, different sidekicks. She exists in different time periods. All right, and still, each is a gem. Each story is a gem. All right,
they were fun. They were a lot of fun to read. And
so hey, don't be surprised if we see. Oh, here we go. And this I love. That's one of Rob's many illustrations in this volume. That's from Samantha's story, isn't it?
Yes.
Samantha Lienhardt. Yeah. Yep. And one of the other things Rob did, which again was so much fun, is one of the key elements of the character is that she is a pilot. So at the end of every episode, every story, Rob also gives you an illustration of the particular aircraft she's using in that particular tale. And as we said, we're getting Rita from what, pre-World War II, post-World War II. One of them has her as a spy working for the USO in World War II. Our writers are amazing. They are so talented.
And great fun stories, all of them. Very, and she doesn't pull her punches in any of the stories. She's a powerhouse in each one of them. She pushes the story forward. So it was a lot of fun, and our writers and we want to do another one. So and how many writers have jumped in for the next?
So far guaranteed. Okay, guaranteed. Gene Moyers and Teal James Glenn have already signed on to do others. Okay, and we already had interest when we put this one together, and so we had people like Kevin Finley and Barry Reese had expressed an interest. All right, and we just started this whole entire episode talking of our buddy Gordon Demowski. Well, one of the reasons Gordon had dropped me a line in the first place was he wanted the fact sheet on Radio Rita, and he's interested. So basically what's going to happen is we're definitely going to do a second volume. That's a given. I have no doubts we're going to get 4 stories, especially from Teal and Gene, all right? Whichever writers give me another story, 2 more writers, we'll definitely have a volume 2. Sometimes out, next year. And if at all possible, and there's interest from these other writers, Gordon, Barry, Kevin, the guys who haven't been involved, we could conceivably by the end of the year do a volume 3, and that's where we'll let it go, and basically see. It's like everything we do at Airship 27, and I mean this sincerely, loyal airmen. It's what you guys want. All right. If you come to us and say, "Oh no, I want more Radio Rita," then we'll give you more Radio Rita, no problem at all. All right.
Yeah.
We get questions sometimes, Rob, for our podcast about, well, you haven't done so much with this particular character, or you haven't done, and that's basically because there hasn't been any interest. And so, we put out a book, new series of whatever, and we gauge it. And if there's interest and excitement, you'll get more. If it doesn't.
Sometimes it's excitement from the writers. It's not so much. It's not even so much the fans that are, but because a lot of our fans, no matter what we put out, they enjoy it. It's a matter of the excitement in the writers themselves. Their interests go from place to place. And it may come back around that in a year or so, somebody will come back, I would like to do a Radio Rita story now, that's how that works. It's the interest of the writers a lot of times what kind of pushes us in one direction or another.
Oh, we get surprised. We still get very surprised. Okay. I mean, if somebody were to come up to me right now, Rob, and say, okay, so what's flying at Airship 27? What's, top dog? Well, obviously, my answer is always going to be Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. All right. But in the last couple of years, Bass Reeves has become a big winner for us.
Yes.
All right. And then, and to my surprise, okay, Mystery Men and Women.
Yeah. My surprise too, because it's not the same character from volume to volume.
Right.
Now we had 3 in a row with Dr. Fix-It in them, but that's a fluke, really. And we've had a couple of other recurring. What is her? Siri is in her name?
Yeah. Right. The martial artist. Right.
Yeah, the martial arts. She's been in 3 or 4 now. Yep. But it's almost every volume has a different collection of heroes or heroines in it. So. Right. It's wild that it is right up there with Bass Reeves and Sherlock Holmes as far as selling goes. Yep. I mean, we're up to what? How many volumes have we done? I don't have anything in front of me. Was it?
I'm thinking we have to be up to at least volume 7, maybe even 8.
Yeah.
I think 7 for sure.
7,
right?
Yeah.
But it's a showcase series, and I think that's what appeals to our readers. So
it's weird. I know in comic books, anthologies are the death knell. You put together an anthology, nobody wants to buy it. They want a hero book. know, or a heroin book. But I guess in reading in prose, it's a little different because it seems like the anthologies, like Sherlock Holmes, is an anthology. So Mystery Men and Women, that's an anthology. So almost everything we do in a way or in one way or another is an anthology. So it's just interesting that in prose it sells pretty well, but comic books, boy, anthologies are dead.
I know, right?
Which is a shame because I think if we could get readers interested, I think we could get a lot more interesting stories out there that way. And I know manga is like that. It's very anthologistic. I don't know if that's a word or not.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean,
if it isn't, I'm going to make it one. So
not only manga, but I from what I've seen, quite a few of the British comic titles, which are even weekly, are all anthologies. All right.
Well, that's why they can do it weekly, because you've got a different creative team.
Creators giving you 5-6 pages per issue.
Yeah,
and that formula works there extremely well. It's sad it's never caught on in this country. But
yeah, and I think if somebody could come up with the right formula, it might actually start doing well. I know Dark Horse had one. Dark Horse Presents, I think, had one that did fairly well.
Yes.
It had several characters in it that were very popular.
Well, DC was it in the 80s? DC tried a weekly anthology title.
Yeah, Action Comics was weekly.
And it lasted a couple months, and
half a year, I think. Well, yeah, you may be right. It because it was like eight or 9 issues, so it was only a couple of months.
Right.
But
they just couldn't get
it was a really interesting book.
Yeah.
But it was. I don't know if weekly was the proper sequence for that. Maybe a bi-weekly, every couple of weeks instead.
Yep.
A couple of months. Bi-monthly, I guess. It'd be bi-weekly. Bi-weekly.
All right.
So yeah, that might have been a little better, but hindsight's 20/20. It was worth a shot. I mean, they were trying stuff. So yeah. But I think if somebody hits on the right formula, it could be the thing to kind of turn comic books around. The interesting news in the last couple of weeks is that we've seen some financial problems with some of the smaller comics companies.
Yeah.
And I'm blanking on the name of the company. Aftershock. Thank you. I knew it was an A, but I couldn't.
Yeah, they claim. They filed
way back here in the brain somewhere.
They filed bankruptcy, and I think that's really sad. They have.
Well, it's a reorganization. They're not going out of business. They're just organizing their. So they're not leaving us, but that's just an indication. This is kind of what happened in the 1990s as well, mid-90s.
Right, I got the same deja vu feeling. Believe me.
Essentially destroyed some comics careers, mine included. I got knocked out of the industry at that time because everything just went. Stuff was growing, and then boom, down to just a few. So we're probably on the cusp of another one of those implosions. And where everyone goes, oh, the industry's ending. No, it's just reorganizing. I don't think comics are going away. I think they're still going to be here. Some new stuff will come out, and it'll regenerate, and then it'll start growing again, like it always does. So it's just part of it. It's a business cycle, just like any other business cycle. It goes up, comes down, goes up, comes down. If somebody ever figures out how to get it on an even keel, they'll be. It's just the way things are, and it's a sad. I'm hoping not too many people get hurt in.
Yeah, agreed. Totally.
And I hope that anybody who is kind of pushed out is lucky enough to find something good to continue their career with.
A safe place to land, definitely. All right. Hey, look.
That's right.
What's it look like for the start of 2023? What kind of titles does it look like we have coming?
Well, what's coming up next? The Purple Scar seems to be number 4, volume 4. It seems to be coming up fast. It features stories by Gene Moyers, Felix Cruz, Michael Housel, and Fred Adams Jr. The interior illustrations are almost finished. They're coming in from Chuck Bordell, And Adam Shaw has already turned in a great cover for this one. So that one's probably it's out of the blocks and is 3/4 of the way around the track and making its way in. But who knows? Some other runner could be gaining on it fast. That's the way it happens here.
Right. I think the
But
count
that
now,
seems like it's next in the queue.
yeah, because as we both know, this morning Chuck turned in illustration number 10 of 12. So he's only got 2 more to do, and this book is a wrap. It's we put it together.
Yeah, because everything's there. It's just a matter of me assembling it and then putting it out there. So
right.
Yeah.
Okay, and then most likely after that is the Western by John Casey called After Sunset. This is a novel, and one of my local artist friends here, Sam Salas, has been working on the interior illustrations. Now, I haven't seen Sam in a couple of months. He had some issues at home. His wife had a hip replacement and backed up a lot of family things, especially for the holidays and whatever. But Sam's usually a very fast and efficient artist. And before all this happened, I think he almost had half of the illustrations done. So I don't expect it'll take him long once he gets back on track to wrap up the interiors. And our buddy and artist Shannon Hall has volunteered to do the cover for this book. So that seems to be a lock, and probably most likely will be our second volume. And then I've jotted down, I'll let you read some of the things that we will be looking forward to in 2023. Anything else?
Okay, some things our loyal airmen can expect in 2023. Another Mark Justice's Dead Sheriff novel. I wasn't aware of that. That's cool. This one has him going into Canada to confront Bigfoot. Wow. Okay. Another entry in our children's book series featuring Barry Baskerville and a giant-sized volume 20, as I mentioned earlier, of our best-selling series, Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. And now we've got to get number 19 out first.
Yep.
But 20 is coming. It's in 2023. Number 20 is coming, and it looks to be it'll have more stories in it.
Yep.
It's gonna be designed a little bit differently. I almost gave it away, but it's gonna be a little different. This one we're gonna celebrate an anniversary here of
20 volumes of Consulting Detective,
which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
But first expect number 19. Hopefully another volume of Mystery Men and Women, as we mentioned earlier, another popular series of ours, which are always fan favorites. Plus, we hope the debut of some new series as well. You don't mention here Bass Reeves, but I believe we've got, in the latest announcements you had, that the next volume, I think all the writers have been assigned. I don't know if all the stories have come in yet or not.
No, they haven't all come in. We have one or two in-house.
That's
but this will be what, volume 7 of this now?
Yeah. This is coming up fast. It's our. So we've got 20. Our most popular is Sherlock Holmes. There's 20. There will be 20 of those before 2024 is over. Men and Women, Mystery Men and Women. There'll be probably 8 of those out. Bass Reeves, which started much later than Mystery Men and Women, but yet is coming up fast on the number of volumes that we have out. So there'll be 7 of those. There's several other. There's Phantom Detective. I think that was on the list as well. Is coming.
Phantom Detective is complete. We have to get an art team for it.
Right.
One of the titles I'm hoping we can eventually launch. We talk about new series. I've had the stories in this thing for over a year now, and it's going to be a case of, again, hopefully finding an art team to pull it off. But we do want to launch a series featuring the other Conan Doyle hero, Professor George Challenger, under the title The Challenger Chronicles. All right? And we have enough stories to fill a volume 1. As soon as I can find and recruit an art team, we hope to launch that in 2023. And like I said, who knows what other, new stuff or whatever. I've got several.
I've got floating around out there.
Right. I've got several novels in the queue, and I mean full-length novels that do feature different heroes. Our good buddy Lee Houston Jr. did a series, and I'm blanking right now off the top of my head because I'm saying it off the top of my head, but Lee gave me a hero novel, all right, whereby it's a lot of modern day espionage, and his character is basically this silent modern day type ninja character, all right, whereby in the outfit that the character wears throughout the entire novel, you don't know if it's a he or a she.
Ooh.
All right. All right. And this character goes after, like criminal masterminds in the corporate world who are plotting all kinds of devious, horrendous things. And it's a great book. Again, I've got to get an art team. I've got to get an art team and bring this out because I know Lee wants to do more with this character. So bear with me, Lee. I'm doing the best I can here. But again, it's always a challenge to find artists who are willing to work for us. Willing to understand that, at best you're going to get enough money for a Starbucks coffee, and considering the price of that, you might not have enough for the Starbucks. I don't know, but somehow or other, okay, we seem to be under a lucky star in that the artists we do have are amazing. They're all top-notch professionals who get paid big bucks when they work, in their other gigs and whatever, and we can't
But they're
thank
willing
them.
to work for us for peanuts, just for the fun of it. So
yeah, and I think it's a good place to basically we'll end the show and let you give us your joke. But hey, as we look to the start of a new year, we need to thank all of you loyal airmen for supporting us. All right, throughout the years, and that you continue to do that really, really makes Rob and I feel fantastic and great. And of course, all of this is because of our super talented writers and artists. All right. There would be no Airship 27 without them. We can't thank them enough. And I hope they realize how much they are appreciated.
Yeah, very much. So, okay. Are you ready?
Your turn. Lay it on us. Here we go.
Here it comes. Okay. On New Year's Eve, I always try to get a topical. On New Year's Eve, Daniel was in no shape to drive, so he sensibly left his van in the car park and walked home. As he was wobbling along, he was stopped by a policeman. "What are you doing out here at 4 o'clock in the morning?" asked the police officer. And the guy says, I'm going to a lecture." And the police officer goes, "And what? And who on earth in their right mind is going to have a lecture at this time on New Year's Eve?" The policeman said. And the guy says, it was my wife."
Oh, poor bastard. I hope his life insurance is paid up. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, can you imagine? Oh, yeah, he's gonna get a lecture, all right.
So we were talking earlier. New Year's to us is basically pretty much like Christmas was. We had a very intimate family type Christmas gathering here, Christmas Day, and it was a lot of fun with the family. And basically, our grandkids, our adult grandkids, have all got parties and places they're going to be going, for New Year's. But Val and I and my son Alan and his wife Nicole are basically going to be spending a quiet evening in the living room. Maybe have a little mixed drink as the hour comes up, and all wish ourselves a happy New Year's, and that's going to be the extent of it. We'll get up on Sunday morning, I should say, and go about our regular activities. And come Monday, Tuesday, it's back at it here with Airship 27 and all the things that we do. So hey,
another year. We're going to start off another year. Yep. Teresa and I are going to probably just do our regular thing that night. We go to bed at a regular time and not try and stay up till midnight or anything like that. We might toast with some sparkling water, but we don't even do much drinking anymore. So, but then on Sunday, we're going to drive to Kansas City to visit those friends I talked about earlier and spend the day with them. We'll play games, board games, and maybe watch a movie or whatever, and have a great dinner, and then come back home that evening. So, and then here we are, 2023. We're going to start going again, and let's hope.
Crazy, huh?
Let's hope that this year is an improvement on the last few, and we're actually moving away from COVID and all the nasty stuff that that brought upon the world.
Oh yeah.
Every once in a while, Mother Nature kind of reaches out and goes, "Hey, remember, I'm really in charge here, not you."
Always. Oh yeah. Amen.
So,
Amen. We are not in charge. Nope.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
a fact. We don't. Yeah, we shoot ourselves in the foot
right
when we
this
think we are.
Bronco.
Yeah. All right, amigo. Hey, look. Not bad for a short show.
Yeah, 40 minutes. We rambled a little. Anybody who's seen us at conventions knows we can ramble. We could probably ramble for another 20, 30 minutes.
Oh yeah. And again, 2023 coming up. Things we didn't mention, but we'll be heading for Windy City again this year.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously there's going to be the Pulp Factory Awards coming up in the end of February.
That's right. Yeah, that we'll have to get those.
All kinds of stuff. So hey, look, make a note, keep an eye out. Hopefully, I think we're going to wait till the second week of January to do that wrap-up show. Yeah, and it's going to be a little lengthy. We're going to go through all 22 titles that we got out and maybe announce a few titles that came out since. But yeah, and it's just another way of our pointing out some of the great writers and artists that we have working for us, and again, thanking them. So hey, this is it for podcast number 89.
And for 2022, that we call this to an end with our 22 books. And this is Chief Engineer Rob Davis signing off.
And as ever, Captain Ron has the honor and fun of saying, down ship.